Hi, my name is Peyton Snider. This is my reflection presentation. A little bit about me. I am a sixth grade English Lit Comp teacher. I teach at Creekland Middle School, which is in Canton, Georgia, in Cherokee County School District. I've been in Cherokee County School District all of my educational career, but I've been at Creekland for the last 4 years. I just finished my fifth year in education, and I'm about to start my sixth year in August. I have been an ELA and math teacher, but this upcoming school year, I will be the PLC facilitator for my grade level and department, as well as the ELA department head for my school. Additionally, in the past, I was a part of the STEM cohort, which was a team of educators and administrators within my school that helped our school get Cognia STEM certified. I was also a part of the discipline committee and the blended learning committee to help teachers with incorporating blended learning strategies into their classroom. When it comes to the ISTE standards and how I see them and have observed them within my school currently, prior to going through the grad school coursework, I was not super familiar with the ISTE standards. I was relatively familiar because of a couple things. There are several certified teachers or ISTE certified teachers within my building, and so I was familiar with the lingo and kind of how it connected to things we were doing within the school. Additionally, as mentioned before, we the last 2 years have been going through the process of getting STEM certified through Cognia, and so as a school and as a cohort, we utilized the ISTE standards to help align with our STEM initiatives in the building because the Cognia STEM certification and ISTE standards were very closely related. So I did learn a little bit about that going through that process with my cohort in the Cognia STEM certification process. Additionally, through professional learning in my school, we focus a lot on blended learning and using digital resources and tech tools. But there was no direct correlation with ISTE in those regards. But we do focus a lot of our professional learning in-house on specific learning tools. For example, this last year we looked a lot at Canva, Magic School AI, and Nearpod. ISTE within my own personal practice, I've kind of divided it up into a before coursework, during coursework, and in the future because that's just the best way for me to kind of go through my thought process when it comes to the ISTE standards in my own practice. So prior to the coursework, as I've mentioned, I kind of knew of the standards, but I wasn't super familiar with them. I wouldn't be able to draw on them when it comes to creating content, planning activities, or providing professional learning for colleagues of mine. So I didn't really use them directly on a regular basis. However, once they were introduced through coursework, and as I was progressing through grad school, I did find myself using the standards as a reference point for when I was creating content, and not just because of the requirements for grad school, but they are a really good way to ensure that I'm using best practices in my classroom. I also utilized my knowledge of the ISTE standards to kind of encourage and reference them to my administration because I was asked to be a part of the school improvement plan development over the summer. And so I hinted at those because a lot of the things that we wanted to focus on were technology and digital resource based. So I encouraged my administrators and colleagues to use those as a reference point, which was very beneficial during that planning. Additionally, I feel like I've grown and I will be changing a lot in my practice in the leader standard, which is 2.2. As previously mentioned, I will be leading my PLC, which is the other sixth grade ELA teachers, and I will be department head the next school year. So I want to take the ISTE standards and keep those in mind when delivering content and leading my teams moving forward. I've also been asked to provide professional development on digital tools and resources for my colleagues in the building during pre-planning and during teacher work days. So I want to make sure that I am aligning those things with the ISTE protocols and standards so that, again, I'm not only using those best practices set up by ISTE, but educating my colleagues on what those are as well and helping them bring them into their classroom. There are several things that I did throughout my coursework that I'm really proud of, but one of them specifically was the creative computing project. I was able to take content and something that we already used in sixth grade ELA, which was publishing stories of our fables and fairy tales that students wrote, but I made it more engaging and incorporated those computational thinking skills for my students, which was something they weren't getting previously. So I took the lead and encouraged, or really more like convinced my PLC to give it a try. It was utilizing the program Scratch to create digital stories from our students' fables and fairy tales. We all gave it a shot, and it ended up being really successful and something we plan on continuing to do moving forward in our practice because it was so much more engaging. And we didn't realize initially, but there were several students who were already very familiar with the program, so they were able to help collaborate and work with their peers, which eliminated the need for us to troubleshoot with every single student, which was fantastic, and it opened up so many more possibilities for our students that weren't there before. I'm also really proud of my engaged learning project. I went outside of my comfort zone and engaged with the community members and invited them into our classroom to help make this project so much more real world and authentic for my kids. I utilized tech tools that were new to my instruction, including Microsoft Teams. I've used it with my colleagues for meetings, but I had not used it in the classroom before with students for a collaboration tool, but it went really well. Additionally, I collaborated not just with the students, but with colleagues, administrations, and parents and guardians. This was such a big undertaking of a project because it was interdisciplinary. I worked with Carrie Gaynor, who is the math teacher on my team, to develop this interdisciplinary project that spanned for both of our classes. And it was such a hit with the kids. They were super engaged. It was authentic real world learning for them. And it's something that we can continue to build upon and add more disciplines in to the future, like our social studies and science courses. Of course, it's always important to reflect and improve, and there is an ISTE standard that I want to explore more and integrate deeper into my practice, which is Standard 2.3 Citizen. It is a really important skill set, that digital citizenship piece for our students to have, and I've had the mindset, being a sixth grade teacher, that my students should already know that stuff, and that's simply not the case. And even if they did already have exposure, it is still my responsibility to continue to add to that knowledge and develop more of that skill set for them at a level that is age appropriate. I think that there are several ways that I can incorporate more digital citizenship into my regular content and instruction. It just takes a little bit more time to make sure I have the right resources that are age appropriate and that hit on all of those skills that we want them to have. I feel like I can also do a better job of modeling digital privacy, safety, and responsibility in the way that I present knowledge and show them things during class. Thank you so much for listening to my reflection presentation.